Rotterdam is the second largest city and municipality in the Netherlands. It is in the province of South Holland, at the mouth of the Nieuwe Maas Channel leading into the Rhine-Meuse-Scheldt Delta at the North Sea. Its history goes back to 1270, when a dam was constructed in the Rot. In 1340, Rotterdam was granted city rights by the Count of Holland. The Rotterdam-The Hague metropolitan area, with a population of approximately 2.7 million, is the 10th largest in the European Union and the most populous in the country. A major logistic and economic center, Rotterdam is Europe's largest seaport. In 2020, it had a population of 651,446 and is home to over 180 nationalities. Rotterdam is known for its university, riverside setting, lively cultural life, maritime heritage and modern architecture. The near-complete destruction of the city center in the World War II Rotterdam Blitz has resulted in a varied architectural landscape, including skyscrapers designed by architects such as Rem Koolhaas, Piet Blom and Ben van Berkel. The Rhine, Meuse and Scheldt give waterway access into the heart of Western Europe, including the highly industrialized Ruhr. The extensive distribution system including rail, roads, and waterways have earned Rotterdam the nicknames Gateway to Europe and Gateway to the World. The settlement at the lower end of the Fen stream Rot. On 7 July 1340, Count Willem IV of Holland granted city rights to Rotterdam, whose population then was only a few thousand. Around the year 1350, a shipping canal was completed, which provided Rotterdam access to the larger towns in the north, allowing it to become a local transshipment center between the Netherlands, England and Germany. And to urbanize, the port of Rotterdam grew slowly but steadily into a port of importance, becoming the seat of one of the 6 chambers of the Verenigde Oostindische Compagnie, the Dutch East India Company. The greatest spurt of growth, both in port activity and population, followed the completion of the Nieuwe Waterweg in 1872. The city and harbour started to expand on the south bank of the river. The Wit His, a White House skyscraper, inspired by American office buildings and built in 1898 in the French chateau style, is evidence of Rotterdam's rapid growth and success. When completed, it was the tallest office building in Europe, with a height of 45 meters. During World War I, the city was the world's largest spy center because of Dutch neutrality and its strategic location in between Britain, Germany and German-occupied Belgium. Many spies who were arrested and executed in Britain were led by German secret agents operating from Rotterdam. MI6 had its main European office on the Boompies. From there the British coordinated espionage in Germany and occupied Belgium. During World War I, an average of 25,000 Belgian refugees lived in the city, as well as hundreds of German deserters and escaped Allied prisoners of war. During World War II, the German army invaded the Netherlands on 10 May 1940. Adolf Hitler had hoped to conquer the country in just one day, but his forces met unexpectedly fierce resistance. The Dutch army was forced to capitulate on 15 May 1940. Following the bombing of Rotterdam on 14 May and the threat of bombing of other Dutch cities, the heart of Rotterdam was almost completely destroyed by the Luftwaffe. Some 80,000 civilians were made homeless and 900 were killed. A relatively low number since many had fled the city because of the warfare and bombing going on in Rotterdam since the start of the invasion 3 days earlier. The city hall survived the bombing. Ossip Zadkan later attempted to capture the event with his statue the Verwoeste Staad. The statue stands near the Loevehaven, not far from the Erasmusbrug in the center of the city, on the north shore of the river Nieuwe Maas. Rotterdam was gradually rebuilt from the 1950s through to the 1970s. It remained quite windy and open until the city councils from the 1980s on began developing an active architectural policy, daring and new styles of apartments, office buildings and recreation facilities resulted in a more livable city center with a new skyline. In the 1990s, the Koop van Zuid was built on the south bank of the river as a new business center. Rotterdam was voted 2015 European City of the Year by the Academy of Urbanism. A profile of Rem Koolhaas in The Guardian begins, if you put the last 50 years of architecture in a blender and spat it out in building-sized chunks across the skyline, you would probably end up with something that looked a bit like Rotterdam. Rotterdam is divided into a northern and a southern part by the river Nieuwe Maas. Connected by the Willemsbrug, the former railway lift bridge, the Hef is preserved as a monument in lifted position between the Noordereiland and the south of Rotterdam. The city centre is located on the northern bank of the Nieuwe Maas. Although recent urban development has extended the centre to